Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking in a warm welcome to this week's Walking Wednesday. It's not warm, and it's barely Wednesday. No, I'm kidding, it is Wednesday. I just waited until it was dark to do this. And, yeah, I'm lighting my street lamps right now. And you might be wondering, why is it that A, I'm wearing such a fantastic coat, and B, why it sounds a little bit different, and C, why I decided to wait until the dark to take full advantage of this. Well, I'll answer C first. Partly was to emphasize the last of the Christmas lights. Not quite Liverpool caliber, but they're still certainly something. But second of all, of course, is because I have a light of my own. Voila. So yes, I have to hold this a little bit further back. But yeah, let's kind of look back in the olden days, actually, because I have received a couple of things as a Christmas gift, one of which was this coat, obviously, and then also this jacket to match, actually. But also, I just realized I can't zip that up again because I've only got one free hand. That was a mistake. Anyway, and also this wonderful stand, which I am now currently using to both record audio through a different microphone, an extended one that plugs into my phone itself, and also a light. Not only that, but it's currently supported on a tripod which I'm holding with my hand, and it's not as egregious as the tripod that I used to do Walking Wednesdays on. You know, back when I first started, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to take my entire regular tripod and use it as a phone stand. You know, it's a good idea to carry such a heavy weight around just constantly in front of me while my arms build up lactic acid. That was not my smartest moment, so I stopped doing that. Actually, no, the reason I stopped doing that was when I got a new phone, I think, wasn't it? Oh no, it was when I got my phone case that no longer fit in the tripod itself. That's when I stopped doing it. But yeah, not only can this tripod support the phone case that I currently have, but also the phone itself and microphone and light. So yes, thank you so much again to Monet for giving that to me. That was an amazing Christmas present from an amazing woman. Right, on with the week then. I mean, it's probably not going to be as exciting for the people who've been tuning in just for Walking Wednesday. You know, when I was talking about my about the directing stuff and the play productions and all of that good hullabaloo. No. Instead, really, I mean, I can talk, well, I guess I can talk about Christmas, actually. But even that was not as eventful as in other years past for several reasons. But I'll get to that. But mostly it's because I've been working on either the first family quiz that I've done in quite some time. My mum and I have done, that is. But also the okay, back to the road now. On the road again. I'm filming on the road again. All the cars are passing by, making a din. And here I am, right on the road again. Let's actually just, I wonder how the microphone's picking it up, because I think actually I can turn it from I think it's not omnidirectional, so I basically have to angle myself and talk into it. It's one of those that if you go closer, you pick up more sound. So it might actually be better for filming near cars as well. This works on so many levels. This might also be the first time I ever got a gift that was Walking Wednesday specific. I'm going to cross the road in a second. Or not. Okay, wait. No, yes I am. Such confusion. On the road again. I'm seeing people on the road again. I got my shoes wet from the puddle I was in. And I can't wait to get off the road again. I don't know. So I'm going to call this Walking Wednesday. Nah, it's got to be something like post-Christmas or whatever, I don't know. At least there are no dogs this time. I just jinxed it, didn't I? Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that I was really just doing like the first family quiz in a while, or compiling the audio just in time to really send it to the editors to give them like a couple of days at least in order to get stuff in. I'm actually somewhat more hopeful now that I've done that, particularly because some of them have already sent stuff in. Like Emily is lightning fast, actually. I mean, I'd say almost almost more so than Aiden in some regards. I don't know, it's kind of a debate between those two. But yeah, I don't know. For the most part, I'd say, everyone's got their stuff, but then not only this is really fast, but some voice submitted stuff in, but also the scenes are surprisingly short. And I forgot the reason why that was until they were actually being edited. It's because the finale is pretty fast-paced in most scenes. The one scene that I have yet to do, and has yet to take up the time of the episode, is my own one. By which I mean the composite shots one that I need to do, which will feature the lab. Of course. I mean, how could it not? It's the finale. But yeah, fun fact about the lab scene. That was a combination of me testing out several different layers of not layers. Well, actually, yeah, layers, because there's like foreground and background details as well, forming the shot together. And then of course there was also the lighting change and everything, which I guess if I gave that scene to anyone else, then I would have to really coach them through it. There's not really much point, because I need a scene to do as well. Can't just be handing out everything to everyone else. I mean, yes, I've still got episode 11 to edit through, but to be honest, that's I can kind of see maybe like posting the last 2 episodes on the 31st or something. I mean, they have to be in before that anyway, so obviously ideally they'd be in for the next 3 days. But yeah, who knows? If the editors all pull through and don't have anything mysterious going on with the lives they haven't told me about yet, which some of them unfortunately do on occasion and just don't inform me, then yeah, I think actually that could be nice. Some sort of New Year's Eve treat alongside Final Countdown 8. I'm on number 8 now, aren't I? Yeah. Final Countdown 8. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I haven't even had time to write that. I also recorded another adventure map on Bedrock Edition, in fact. So shout out to Beanie Boy as well for actually, taking me through that. I won't give away my verdicts right now. He knows what I think of it, but I won't give it away because I want you lot to watch it. So yeah, wait for that. But either way, obviously, the real main objective is Muse and Girl. Because, yeah, I think I can just about make it. It's kind of like, it's weird because, like, in 2019, I remember that every single month I became really stressed out trying to actually get the episodes of Muse and Girl to be out on time. And ironically, it was the only 2 that didn't actually. Well, there's 3 that didn't, but 2 of the ones that didn't actually were handed off to another person who just didn't really quite give what I was aiming for, and so I had to actually coach a little bit more. And also just seemed to be, not picking up on the fact that I was really like stressing out so much and trying to get this out before it basically like returned midnight their time, because that's when YouTube like updates its calendar, basically. So yeah, those were some fun nights. But either way, it's I wanted to aim to stop doing that, and that's why I stopped having like a regular upload schedule for the rest of the release of season 2. I mean, that's not to say that I was sitting on the episodes and that's why it took so long from one episode to the next. Basically, it was like a year gap in between episode 5 and episode 8, which still haunts me as a concept. No, that's partly because I started being giving more leeway to the voice actors, and also somewhat the editors. It's weird because when it was just Aiden, Monet, and I, we just like plowed through those episodes. I mean, it was quite the efficient system, actually. That's why in summer 2020 there were so many, just like Through Her Eyes, then next episode of Mutant Girl, then more Through Her Eyes, and that was much faster. And so I kind of got confident. And Through Her Eyes, at the end of the last episode, I said, to keep people invested in case they came in just to see Through Her Eyes, to have somewhat of a complete story, I said Phoenix and Agatha's story will continue in the Mutant Girl Season 2, concluding 2021. And honestly, that's the reason that that I really want to actually get this through. Because, I said it was going to conclude in 2021. It's kind of like how Season 1 concluded in 2019, the same year that it actually started. I put that one out on the 31st as well. It's weird, because that was what inspired me to stop the schedule in the first place. But then when I realized that not 1 but 2 calendar years had passed, that's when I drew the line. And Aiden kind of agrees. He's on the same boat with Season 1 of Fallen Angels, which he also gave me to score, even though I don't really have that much time to engage with other people's projects anymore. I mean, that was like during the directing times and stuff. I told him, you're better off doing, better off like having someone else do it that's not me. But he said, no, I'd rather you do it. I can see where he's coming from, because I've critiqued his musical choices in the past, but I've given him access to all of my music and my sound effects. So I don't know. It feels like if I get some sort of extra boost in time, I may be able to just manage to get that. But I don't see that much hope, honestly. And I do feel kind of bad, because he's the one who's working through, he works through like longer scenes for Mutant Girl, so maybe I'd say he's still the fastest compared to Emily, just because when you like factor in the times that they both edit, it actually kind of evens out. No, well, it doesn't even out. Sorry, it doesn't even out. That's the point. Aiden's faster. That's why it evens. Whatever. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of interesting. I'm in the same boat that I was 2 years ago. And this is kind of interesting. I also talked to Beanie Boy about the production of Mutant Girl itself. On several occasions, actually. Once on like the Three Wise Men parkour map, which was still this week. Yeah, it was still this week we recorded that. Because that's when he met BB for the first time. So Pete and Pete finally got to speak to each other, because she's been posting on his streams a couple of times, but he doesn't keep his streams active, so he wouldn't have seen her comments. That's how that goes. But yeah, so they got to speak to each other, and yeah, my arm's gotten tired. Eventually, it took longer to use it. Normally, I was swapping around all the time. This one's much lighter. But yeah, so I was talking to Beanie Boy because like mentioning that it just happened to be, it wasn't exam period for him around that time, but his college was particularly mlemle. That's what it was. Yes, those are words, Jacob. Anyway, yeah, so I want to stop again. I'm gonna stop again. I'm still tired. I think it's just like getting used to it. Anyway, so yeah, and mentioning that he was one of the first examples of me having to replace a voice actor for any given reason. Most of the replacements happened around season 1, or have happened historically because either the actors have quit themselves, or they've actually been fired by me because of different levels of misconduct and stuff. But yeah, there have been a few occasions where I had to replace somebody just because they weren't available and they weren't showing up to tell me why. It's actually kind of what happened to Caroline back in the day. She kind of vanished for some time, and I had to replace her with Apex for the first Through Her Eyes, and then afterwards, Apex then took over the role in episode 5, I think. So yeah, for most of the Gacha Club days, Apex has been the Agatha voice actress. It's kind of like how Nova took over Natasha, actually. But that was like just when I transitioned from Gacha Life to Gacha Club. A bit more even. But yeah, basically, I won't get into details because obviously that's her story to tell. She brings back Tea Time Tuesday. I mean, what? No, but but yeah, then eventually she said, we'll just have Apex, take over the main role. And I was like, okay. And then of course she wanted the role back, which isn't fair for me to do because of that track record. I kind of have to be somewhat detached sometimes. That's just the way that works. Well, it's interesting because I was thinking about Monet showed me the first comment that she ever posted on one of my videos saying, this seems interesting, when she actually saw my audition for the first time. And yeah, it's interesting because I'm pretty sure I met Apex and Ms. Devil around the same time. Oh wait, no, I would have met them for Puppy Love. Yeah, bit of that. There's the difference. Yeah, it was Quadzy that I met at the same time as them. Because I was kind of thinking that they all knew each other because they all arrived at roughly the same time. I guess that would have been around June-ish. Oh yeah, it would have been around June-ish when I do the Puppy Love auditions because yeah, that's when when Gacha Club started to come out. So it was like maybe a couple of months in between. Yeah, that's it. Okay, right, got it now in my head. But yeah, those are just a couple of examples. Because he said to me yesterday, actually, Beanie Boy this is, because I was talking to him again about it, as I said, numerous occasions. He said to me that this is the kind of time where I like draw the line when voice actors don't submit stuff. That's kind of like what happened like over the summer when everyone had issues to do, or they kind of just vanished and didn't like submit certain lines that I had to really scrounge for yesterday, and I almost had backups to a lot of them, but then in the last second, most of them came back and actually did their submissions, even though they only had a few lines. Because obviously there's one finale scene that has pretty much every single character in it, as you would expect. But yeah, not exactly the best situation to be in. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have. I don't know if there was like a mismatch on my part to try and like, because I kept a spreadsheet of who I thought had sent in lines or something. But then also some of the people just didn't. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure in a lot of cases. But yeah, he said, "Oh yeah, I draw the line. I've replaced them." But the thing is, like this show has already had so many replaced voice actors. I really don't like doing that unless I have to. It's always a last resort. That's why I'm changing the method for submitting lines next year. To which I'm going to have, even if the episode doesn't come out, I'm going to have some sort of audio deadline for a certain like collection of lines to do, and then I have to kind of try and say to them, oh yeah, you don't have to like do them all at once in one take, because sometimes that can, you know, put people off. But yeah, maybe like groups of 3 instead of groups of 2 next time might help. But yeah, it's gonna have to have some. I'm gonna have to some sort of do something like that for 2022. Maybe that's my New Year's resolution, to be a more efficient YouTuber, actually, like for big projects in particular. Because obviously I don't know exactly what's going to happen going forward into next semester. Not quite, anyway. I mean, I know the fact that I'm doing a musical, but obviously how much time is that going to take up? Oh, the answer is quite a lot, but how tired am I going to be at the end? How many projects can I actually get back on track again? I really don't know. And obviously the Pure Gacha channel, that's going to have some sort of management to it. Probably on my behalf. I might just use a collection of screenshot techniques for the most part, except for walking. I don't know. I have to change the model a bit, because I'm not sure if I'm going to start with I don't think I'm going to start with a voice acted project. It'd be kind of like Alpha Witch Academy, but even more low key, because they won't involve as much magic at first. But yeah, who knows? I might get carried away once again with visuals for fandom accuracy. I do kind of worry about that sometimes. Oh, there's another puddle. Do we want to go into the wreck? There's basically nothing there. Yeah, it's even a bit too dark even for that. Normally it becomes so sort of blue. On the road again. There's no sidewalk on. Cars are passing and I don't want to be flattened. So I'll just wait to get on the road again. Okay, here we go. Yeah, there's no pavement, no sidewalk, or whatever you want to call it. Okay. But yeah, I try not to waste them, also because people recognize certain voices with certain characters, and when certain actors leave, it kind of really just affects the character, partly because it's written, some parts are written with the voice actors in mind, and also because there's certain things that people can't replicate. Like I tried with backups, like I even gave them examples, and yet sometimes they still can't replicate them. I kind of had to try and find a backup for Pop before Miller came back last second, and it was night and day, honestly. The backups did somewhat well, but some of the lines they either missed or didn't read out the way I was intending them to, and then Miller came right back in and just nailed it. So yeah, that happens sometimes. It's not like I got too many people auditioning for these parts anyway, even if I did open everything up again, obviously. Because it's quite something, like, you know, occasionally you'll get a Quadzi, an Apex, a Miss Devil. Very occasionally you'll get a Monet, but for the most part, it kind of because the realms of gacha voice acting has sort of the initial buzz and rush to be a part of the movement is it has somewhat diminished, I think, just because a lot of the stuff, even still to this day, a lot of people are just cancelling the shows that they've put so much visible effort into setting up. I don't know if they set their ambitions too high or something, or they don't know what they're in for. But yeah, I think part of why the Mutant Girl has survived is because, I mean, the actors didn't know what they were in for at first. No one, including myself, knew the show was going to run for nearly 3 years now. Like, in just a few months, we'll be celebrating our 3rd anniversary of the series. And we're not even on season 3 yet, which is, again, completed script. So, that's partly why I'm anxious to catch up, really. But also, it's just, but also because, like, the actors, they kind of saw the results. Like, I got accustomed to, yes, a stressful production schedule, which I then altered. But now, actually, because people have seen, I think people have just seen the results for so long, and they've become invested in the story, and that's what I hope makes them continue. Because I've tried to get projects off the ground, like Siren Story, the musical that I'm doing now for university. Like, that started off as a Gacha project, which barely ever got off the ground. Puppy Love, I tried to do that in 2019. It's had 1 episode this year, and we've seen almost nothing else. Even though a lot of people submitted their lines in already, I'm just kind of waiting for the next result from Emma, who, by the way, said that she actually had almost everything except for the music to do. So I might just have to nudge her again for that. Maybe there'll be 1 more episode of that before the year's over as well, on her channel, obviously. So yeah, we will have to see, because there's plenty that I still want to do, and not enough time to do it, as per usual. But yeah, I think actually that's my piece of advice for people doing voice acting projects. Like, if you get one off the ground, and don't worry about it looking perfect at first, because you've all seen episode 1 of The Mutant Girl. Like, it was atrocious. And yet, as Beanie Boy likes to point out, still the most viewed of the series. Well, I mean, I say that's probably because people like to go back to part 1 when they start the series again and see how it was. But yeah, it wasn't perfect. I just knew that I wanted to try this thing out. I wanted to make my mark, basically. And I thought my mark was going to be as the first animated voice-acted Gacha project, which to this day I kind of think maybe I am. Not project, series. Maybe it is. But yeah, but now I discovered that, yeah, the longest running is really what I'm aiming for, and what I've achieved, and I aim to maintain. And that's part of what keeps the show going, but also because I'm not done with the story yet, and people really like the story. They engage with the story. So that's why it generates results and interest from people. I see in a lot of servers, people are like, oh yeah, I want to get lip syncers and background makers, custom designers. Who am I? You've never heard of me. I've never produced anything like this before. I'm going all in instantly. And then what happens? Cancelled. Most times. I say every now and then you get the Glamwitz Academy, which, by the way, really, really prolific. Well, I mean, not quite prolific. I mean, it's another series that's kind of like the Music Freaks, that updates every now and then and like actually has the engagement as of it. But it only got that engagement because episode 1 got posted. I mean, granted, like, I reviewed it with Apex and it wasn't a perfect project, but it was still something. It still exists, and that's what gave the results. And then people were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get involved. I'd say Lady Mania actually kind of has the same idea. Mystic Hills, not exactly the most high production value to start off with. Then eventually, she got people who really enjoyed her content to come on, you know, join as voice actors like myself. Some other people as background makers, custom skin designers, set builders. I will say, as tedious as Yandere High was to film for me because of the time zones, because people just didn't show up for hours. As tedious as that was, I will admit, those sets were amazing. And the skin designs were amazing. The mod control was amazing. It's like, it had all of the landmarks, and then I realized, wow, it's actually, the first episode is actually one of the most popular videos that Mania's ever done. And I was like, you know what? I can see why. I mean, again, she's gone into other projects like Origins of Olympus since then, that arguably probably have higher production value and need to because of the mythology that's attached to them. But, again, Yandere High, Mystic Hills, got the ground going. You know what? I even throw Aphmau in there. My Street. Just a series that her and Jason kind of did at the start by themselves for the most part. Minecraft Diaries absolutely was that. All the dialogue was them interacting with NPCs as a survival series. And that's what the appeal was at first. And then eventually when My Street came along, they were at a point where they could start hiring voice actors, professional ones that have worked in the industry, as these characters, as these Minecraft characters. As far as I'm aware, that had never happened before. And that was just an idea for them to innovate and carry on, but it wouldn't have been possible if they hadn't got out of the door. So that's the thing. Everyone wants to be the next big thing, pretty much, you know? I want to be the next big thing, but, you know, again, episode 1, you saw what happened. I realized quickly as I was into the editing that I didn't know what I was doing, and if I wanted to find out, I had to keep trying with other projects instead of scrapping the first one that I ever did. Because by that point, you know, all the lines had been recorded, my direction was set in stone, people were excited to see this thing, and I delivered. And it's interesting because obviously, like, a lot of people create voice acting servers it was to help with their to help get their project off the ground, like their voice acting project off the ground. But no, my first server was created by someone else for me because my project was off the ground. I think that might be why the Mutant Girls lasted so long, all of those things together, and why so many projects kind of just don't succeed now. I mean, yes, if you have the background editors and all that stuff, then go ahead, but if they're not submitting their work, if they're not motivated, then you're just setting yourself up to, like, you know, get disappointed. It's like Red Legend Studios. Red is another example where she got off really on the right foot, and then labeled me as the hardest worker on her server. This is me bragging, by the way, I'm going somewhere with this. Despite the fact that all I really did was submit my lines for multiple characters. Something that I enjoy doing anyway, and part of the reason I joined voice acting community in the first place was to have that, just to show that I had that versatility as an actor. And that I could do multiple voices, and it wasn't just what Mania had hired me to do at the time, which was just you know, posh, well-spoken, serious characters that barely showed up at any point, you know, with my regular accent. That's partly why Federico, my character in Yandere High, actually had a very thick Madrilenian accent, because I knew how to do that, and was also, like, not only that, but he was also like a very jovial, happy-go-lucky character. I was trying to be the opposite of Ian Hills, the main one I had at the time, because basically, yeah, like because yeah, he was very serious, stoic most of the time, and yet Federico was incredibly bombastic, loud, happy, annoying to the other characters, but you know, he himself had a character. So yeah, that's why. But yeah, all of those things, I think. So anyone who wants to do projects out there, that's how, I think. You know, take it from the guy who, again, you may have not found as much success as someone else. You know, you can probably find the formula a bit more, but you know, you only find that by doing things. That's why I feel confident giving advice in the first place, because I have something, at least something to say. How to achieve success in your series will be up to you, but don't set your standards so high that you can never meet them, basically. So yeah, just remember that Rosie Closey started off doing Drarry fanfiction with screenshots and speech bubbles. And look where she is now. So, again, another example. Okay, you know what, I'm going to briefly mention Christmas, because, you know, Christmas was a thing. I went on a rant, and I was supposed to be talking about Christmas. So, yeah, again, not too eventful this time, because, well, starting from last year, that was lockdown, so we were kind of just, like, isolating with my immediate family. My immediate family were here as well this time, because my uncle and aunt, who we normally stay with, have moved house. They moved from to... Obviously, I'm not going to say where from where, but yeah, their place is now too small to host people, so we didn't really stick around for that. Yeah, I kind of thought, well, maybe we might be going to do my mum's side of the family. We used to stay at my nan's for New Year's, and guess what? We're still doing that. As far as I'm aware, tomorrow is when we're gonna head over, basically. Either that or it's the next day. But yeah, either way, New Year's is when at least she and I are gonna be there. She's now concerned that there's not enough places for people to sit around, and yeah, a lot of the chairs have kind of been moved, which I wasn't really too aware of actually, because I remember from the last time that I was over there before I went back to uni that there were still quite a few places for people to relax and go around. But yeah, I guess my nan got a new chair, and it came at the expense of several other chairs. I do understand, so yes, it's going to be my mum and I going over. But yeah, you know, I just kind of wanted to see her. I've said before, I don't really care too much about so many Christmas traditions. Mona and I have been talking about that. You know, she says, oh yeah, do you still family do like a massive like cleaning around Christmas? My answer was no, we're not normally in the house, except for the past 2 years. But yeah, lots of people do other stuff, you know. They have several different dishes they cook all the time for like all the for a massive cast of family, which, you know, again, we used to do but not anymore. You know, others will have probably other things I haven't heard of before, you know. I mean, for crying out loud, I've got an Icelandic friend actually who apparently his tradition consists of smacking people on the bottom in his family. With this, and that was like the sign for like giving each other sweets or something, I think. I don't know. It sounds creepy, but trust me, he explained it. It makes perfect sense as a very silly thing to do. But yeah, the main thing that I really liked to do as a kid around Christmas actually was, you know, stay at my uncle and aunt's for the until like the 27th, I think, and then because we were still living in Spain at the time, we took the train down and stayed with Nan for New Year's. It was like the chance, like, oh yeah, we're not in the country many more than this, so we're going to visit both sides of the family. So I get why we started it, and I also get why we stopped, because now we live much closer to my Nan in particular. And obviously, when I'm at uni, I live much closer to my uncle and aunt, you know, all them. I get why it stopped, but I got in such a habit of it, and it also gave me such great nostalgia of what the holidays kind of were for, you know, my formative life. So it does sometimes get to me that it seems like, you know, we never, like, even though we're so close now, we're we don't have to spend as much travel expense, you know, like trains and planes and everything, to actually do these things in particular. It does distress me sometimes that it just doesn't happen. I mean, even before the situation with my nan, actually, we still sometimes just wouldn't go around until the 30th. And I was just constantly, because we like had a place to go back to, and apparently some sort of maintenance to be done or something, which made no sense to me, partly because in Spain we had a house, and we were perfectly content not to fly back and do some more maintenance there, and that was a much larger place. But also because I was just there constantly going like, when are we going there? There's so few days. School is going to start soon. You know? When I get to see them. And, but yeah. I will say somewhat, I just miss them. So yeah, I mean, I got it that sometimes there's, you know, either she was sick or one of us was sick. We didn't want to transmit it over. Obviously, now that COVID's happened, we're taking precautions every time that we go over, taking tests just before we go, and obviously giving ourselves enough time to read the results. That goes without saying, but yeah. I don't know, it's just, yeah. Yeah, even when we're not sick sometimes, it's like, oh yeah, you want to go over to Nan's? It's like, yes, I want to go over to Nan's. Of course I want to go over to Nan's. And yeah. I mean, of course, it's saying, oh yeah, no, you're going, you get yourself there sometimes, but yeah. Technically speaking, I could, but the part of it was, you know, to be there with everyone else. But yeah, looks like it might just be the three of us this time. Who knows if some other people will drop by eventually. Because yeah, during those short visits I do, like, you know, every week during lockdown, basically, when we were still, well, every week during lockdown, every week after lockdown, when we were allowed to actually stay over. We kind of go over there for a couple of days, starting off with Wednesday, ending on Friday. And, or ending on Saturday, actually, sometimes. And yeah, those were great because, you know, I get to see everyone like circulate around. Sometimes my cousin and, you know, and his daughter showed up. Sometimes my cousin's wife and the same daughter, but usually it was the cousin himself. Yeah, I don't know. It's just because like when we were around all the time a lot, you know, because we were in the country, everyone had like crowded around. It was like Grand Central Station. And I get the impression, you know, Nan also, she enjoys the company too. She loves seeing us like run about. When we celebrated her birthday, we were all like outside, obviously, because, you know, safety. One thing that she really loved doing was watching me run around with that same cousin's daughter, and also family friend has daughter roughly the same age, a couple of years younger. There's some other kids and stuff like all around the family. Some people whose names I even know still. But yeah, it's just a great environment to be in. So yeah, I do appreciate family. As much as people think that I spend so much time in my hobbit hole, I never come out and engage. I do want to. You know, sometimes I need my alone time, sometimes I'm busy, but overall, you know, I really appreciate everyone that I have in my life. And especially during the holidays, when that's what the Christmas is all about. So the one tradition I care about is seeing all of them. So yeah, you can take everything else away, but at least drive down to Nan's for New Year's. That's what I'm kind of getting at. But yeah, as for actual Christmas this year, still fun to do with immediate family anyway. I understand why you can't go to, you know, my class, you know, stay around theirs. And again, Omicron. So I get why that didn't happen this year, and also why not last year. But yeah, still fun. We watched Return of the King, weirdly enough. Again, a proper Christmas movie, absolutely. But I don't know. We gave each other all of our different gifts, you know. We didn't really play any board games this time. That was kind of what happened. Or did get Harry Potter trivia actually in a different form, which is a much faster paced one. So I know for certain family members that need to beware of that, because that was also a tradition for a while before I got banned from playing it and from suggesting it because I kept winning. So yeah, see how it goes this time. I will say this version has much easier questions. I definitely agree with that. I think you actually kind of saw I got Scrabble too. You saw that as in the Generation game. You can say now, oh, I'm almost at the limit. Please do like, subscribe, your opinion matters. Subscribe to us already, and on that note, until next time, farewell.